What's going on, folks? Ted from Immersion here, and I'm back with another Top 10 Tuesday, although we're releasing on a Wednesday. This time, my patrons voted, and they decided for me to do my Top 10 D&D 5e Dragons. Now, unfortunately, dragons are kind of a lacking category in D&D 5e, aside from the 5 chromatics and the 5 metallics and their various age categories that exist. There aren't a lot of other D&D dragons, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not like a super huge fan of the classic chromatic and the classic metallic dragons. There are a few exceptions, sure, but yeah, they're not like my favorite. There's a lot of other cool dragon-based creatures that exist in older editions that were way better, and unfortunately, they just haven't made their way here to 5e. So what I'm actually going to be giving you is a D&D top 6, which will be my top 6 dragons for D&D 5e. As far as rules go, the only thing is I didn't choose any named dragons, right? So there are a variety of different named and specific dragons that have appeared in a variety of different adventures. There's also some funky ones that appeared in Dungeon of the Mad Mage. But Storm King's Thunder and you know, Princes of the Apocalypse and all these other ones had dragons with specific names. And some of those were unique, which is cool because they had spellcasting and stuff, but again, unless you're running a Forgotten Realms campaign or, say, Niv Mizzet from Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, I didn't think they really fit in this. They're a specific dragon. So I'm going for more dragon types or dragon type creatures. I did want to say, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I have a bunch of stuff coming out. I have so many videos planned that I'm working on. Also, you can see it right here. Candlekeep Mysteries is out, and I will be doing giveaways, or I am doing a giveaway. It's live currently. Links in the description. Stay tuned. Number 6. The Ambush Drake. This one comes to us from Horde of the Dragon Queen, though I believe it may have been reprinted since then. But this was kind of one of the first encounters with a dragon that I ever did in any of my 5th edition time frame, so that was a little bit of a nostalgic thing for me. My DM described it as a dragon dog, and I feel it was very interesting, where most of my party didn't understand when he was referencing a drake and then originally referenced a dragon dog and then referenced a drake, that he was actually talking about the same creature and not two separate things. They're pretty cool looking though, right? Here, the Ambush Drake is obviously based off of a green dragon, and you can see right here it has resistance to poison as such. And its sort of big thing is it has pack tactics, right? So that's going to be advantage on attack rolls with allies within 5 feet. And it also has this surprise attack feature similar to what bugbears have, where if it surprises a creature and hits them during the first round of combat, it does an extra 2d6 damage. Its bite does, a d6 damage, so that plus the surprise attack could be 3d6, and with pack tactics, there's a pretty good chance you get a crit. And I also think it's a great idea to kind of expand. I know Ambush Drakes here are designed to be green and kind of poison-based, but I don't see any reason you couldn't make a red Ambush Drake and give it resistance to poison, or a blue one and give it resistance to lightning. But either way, they're a pretty cool-looking creature, and it's also something that I feel like if you want to give your party members a dragon, whether it be as an animal companion or a fine steed or something like that, an Ambush Drake isn't bad because it's not too powerful compared to giving them something like a Wormling. Number 5. The Faerie Dragon. I actually don't remember these from older editions, though they may have been around. I'm sure they were. This was something I thought interesting from 5e, at least the first time I really saw one. And they're sort of an interesting, almost like, I feel like you could make them a fae creature. They have fairy in the name. And as you can see here, they have more like butterfly wings than traditional dragons' bat wings. And they have a really interesting ability here where as they age, they sort of go through the colors of the rainbow and get additional abilities, right? You can see red, orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet, and that is what the color of the dragon is. As it grows in age, it shifts its color pattern. They do have this superior invisibility ability. As a bonus action, they can turn invisible until they're done concentrating. There's no limit on that, and it only ends, then the equipment it carries or whatever is turned invisible with it. They are tiny size, which also makes them really cute. But yeah, that concentration can last indefinitely as long as they're not knocked out of it. They do have telepathy out to 60 feet, magic resistance, and again, the spells associated, as we discussed, with the different colors, all the way up to polymorph when they're violet colored. They have a bite, basically for no real significant damage. But they also have what I thought was an interesting ability is a euphoria breath. So this gas is it's only within 5 feet of it, but it's all around. The creatures must make a DC 11 Wisdom saving throw for 1 minute. They can't take reactions and must roll a D6 to figure out what they do. And it's either they basically don't do anything or move in a random direction, or they don't move at all. And they can the only thing they can do is make a Wisdom saving throw to try to end the effect. So I don't know, they're cute, and actually they're really cute, but also like this picture makes them look very sinister. I feel like that is a very sinister looking face for what is just an interesting, chaotic, good, mischievous dragon. And it's a fun way to throw a dragon at a party at a low level without it being too crazy. Number 4. Pseudodragon. In a similar vein to the Faerie Dragon being like a fun, small creature that is kind of a dragon, but not really, we have the Pseudodragon, which in and of its name tells you what it is. It is kind of a dragon, but not really. So they are once again a tiny creature, only challenge rating 1/4. And to me, the coolest thing is for you to have one as sort of a companion, right? They do have blind sight, which could be useful, as well as dark vision, advantage on perception checks that rely on sight, hearing, or smell, so very good at tracking and finding things, advantage on saving throws against magical effects, and a limited telepathy. But I also like that they can only communicate simple ideas, emotions, and images. I think images can be very fun, and I've had a lot of fun playing with that in a variety of different campaigns with what a Pseudodragon can truly communicate to the party. It's got its bite attack, and then obviously you can see its tail has this big scorpion-style stinger, and that's what it has as sort of its other weapon, whereas a typical dragon would have a breath weapon. It does a d4 plus 2 piercing damage, and the creature must make a con save or be poisoned for an hour, and if they fail by 5 or more, they're unconscious for the same duration, unless another creature uses an action to shake them awake. And then again, if you use the variant for familiars and someone has a draconic or pseudo-dragon familiar, it can extend its magic resistance ability here to them, giving them advantage on saving throws against a spell and magical effects. I fell in love with these back in 3.5. I still remember the old pseudo-dragon art with the sort of skull there, and I was a big fan of it. And that continued into 5e. Bummer that the only way to get one really, permanently as a familiar is to be a Pact of the Chain Warlock, which I feel like is unfortunately the weaker of the 3 pacts, or I guess now 4. Number 3. The Dragon Tortoise. That's right, you heard Dragon Tortoise, not Dragon Turtle. Now, basically, this monster is introduced to us in Candlekeep Mysteries, so I guess sort of spoiler as far as the lore goes, but it is essentially, for all intents and purposes, exactly the same as a dragon turtle. However, it does not have the ability to breathe underwater. I believe dragon turtles have an amphibious or a hold breath ability. Yeah, they are amphibious. So the dragon tortoise, while it does not have that ability, it also doesn't have a swim speed, but is basically, again, the direct correlation between a tortoise and a turtle. This is, rather than an underwater swimming turtle, this is a tortoise version of a dragon turtle, which I think is just really silly to me. And again, as far as I could tell when I compared the two, just at a quick glance, there was absolutely no difference between a dragon turtle and a dragon tortoise. But why don't we go ahead and do a quick side-by-side here and see. So it looks like when you look at all the stats and everything seems to be the same as far as I can tell. You're just, again, lacking the amphibious feature. Yeah, looks to be the same. Even still has the steam breath that does the 60-foot cone for 12 or 15d6 slashing damage on a failed save. Oh, look at that. The dragon. This might be a typo, but the dragon turtle does steam breath that does 15d6 fire damage. Being underwater doesn't grant resistance to this, whereas the dragon tortoise does 15d6 slashing damage. And there's nothing obviously about being underwater because it is a land-based creature. So I just thought that was an interesting twist, something so simple as going from a turtle to a tortoise. And I'm not sure if that is a sort of typo, that it does slashing damage, and even though it's titled Steam Breath, that might be a D&D Beyond issue. I don't think it's actually referenced specifically in Candlekeep Mysteries. They say it's page 205. I'll flip to it and see if it changes that real quick while I've got you here. Yeah, no, it does abrasive sand. Oh, okay. So that's the thing. It says Steam Breath here, but it is, it speaks Draconic and Terran. It lacks a swim speed. And its breath weapon is a 60-foot cone of abrasive sand instead of steam that deals slashing damage instead of fire damage. So either way, that's pretty cool. I like that concept a lot. It was just something different and it caught my eye. Number 2. The Sapphire Dragon. We only have stats for an adult Sapphire Dragon in D&D 5e, but it was included as part of the 45th anniversary. It came with the Sapphire dice. And it's the first introduction for a lot of folks who are, only learning D&D from 5e to the concept of a gem dragon. For those of you who are unaware, a very high-level description is your chromatic dragons are your evil dragons, your metallic dragons are your good dragons, and your gem dragons are your neutral dragons. So you can see here it has immunity to thunder damage and the frightened condition. It does have some innate spells that are psionics, which are scrying, telekinesis, and teleportation circle. It can tunnel, it can climb. Its breath weapon is a debilitating breath weapon, which does thunder damage. And if they fail, they take the thunder damage and they're incapacitated until the start of their next turn. It has legendary actions, one of which is teleport, which is sort of like a misty step. And another one is a telekinetic fling, where it can throw either an object or something into someone, possibly dealing damage. And then we have giant spiders are a favorite food of them, so there's lore bits about this. But we actually have a decent amount of information on the Sapphire Dragon, both about their description, a little bit more about gem dragons themselves, and then about the Sapphire Dragon's lair. So I did an entire full video on this stat block when it first came out, and I've also done a review of the mini, which is basically this exact art turned into a mini form from WizKids. It's pretty awesome. I was hoping that this would introduce us to other gem dragons in 5th edition, like this would just be the tipping point, and we'd have other ones by now. I don't really think gem dragons have a close tie to Dragonlance, though I could be wrong. Again, I'm not super knowledgeable about Dragonlance, so maybe this will be an opportunity for us to get new dragons whenever that Dragonlance campaign setting comes out. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Number 1. Silver dragons. I like I said, I'm not a huge fan of most of the chromatics and the metallic dragons, but silver dragons are just, for whatever reason, I absolutely love them. I don't know what it is about them. They're lawful good dragons. I'm usually more of a chaotic good, chaotic neutral person, so you'd think maybe like copper, or maybe like a copper dragon, kind of like a jokester. Maybe that's brass dragons. I don't remember, but I don't know. I think maybe it might come from the mechanics of the fact that their dual breath weapons are so powerful, right? So they deal cold damage, right? That's their traditional breath weapon, the damage dealing one. But all metallic dragons have 2 breath weapons, a damaging one and then some sort of status effect one. And the silver dragons is a paralyzing breath, which is probably one of the most brutal, because paralysis, when you can be something like a dragon and follow up with legendary actions making attacks, is just nasty, because again, that's an attack within 5 feet is an auto crit when you're paralyzed. So yeah, and it's a paralysis for a minute. They can repeat the saving throw at the end of their turn, but for an ancient silver dragon, for example, that DC is 24. Also, it's a metallic dragon, so it has that polymorph ability where it can turn into a creature, so it can look like a human. Also can lead to the interesting aspects of being a half dragon. And I don't know, I really enjoy, I just really, really like silver dragons. I don't really have a great explanation for why, I just do. They have this sort of tie. They also live amongst the clouds, which I think is pretty neat as far as their lair goes. And we have more interesting bits if we scroll down here about their lair, the regional effects. They have a respect for humanity. And things like that. And then they like to hoard relics of history, which I think is also really cool. I don't know. I just really like them. I'm really excited for when we finally get a new WizKids Silver Dragon mini. We've seen all the changes and all the new things they've done for the chromatics so far. And once those are complete, we know they're going to roll into metallics. And I'm hoping Silver Dragon might be the first, because that's one I absolutely would love to have in my collection. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Again, there's a ton of other dragons from other editions, whether they be dragon-like creatures or things like song dragons or fang dragons or purple dragons or deep dragons and all these other, the brain stealer dragon, all these other really cool things that we've seen in the past that I would love to see brought to 5e would have obviously padded out this list significantly were we doing things from not just with official 5e stat blocks. I should say a close runner-up was also the Blue Dragon. I really just like Blue Dragons for their burrow ability because I think burrowing is something that's often overlooked and how potentially devastating and like cinematic it can be to have a dragon burst up out of the ground because it's dug underground. I think that that's pretty cool. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What is your favorite 5th edition dragon? And then also let me know what's your favorite dragon from older editions if you happen to know any. Thank you once again to my patrons over on Patreon who voted for this by a astounding amount, honestly. The amount of votes that came in for dragons as this top 10 was more than double any of the other categories. So if you'd like to get in on that and help vote for what the topics are going to be for this week or next week or so on, joining the Patreon is the best way to go about doing that. The base tier will get you the ability to vote on things, and there's obviously benefits as you go up. Once again, as I mentioned at the start, Candlekeep Mysteries, the giveaway is still going on. It runs till early April. You can win one of either the standard copy or 2 of the collector's edition copies of that book. So feel free to go and check that out. It's just a pretty easy giveaway. All you have to do is do some social media stuff, or really just respond with an email and then get bonus entries for social media related things. So anyway, folks, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.